get on to my presentation, I want to give him one consolation prize, that if the European and the American banks are refusing to finance the coal mining projects, the Indian banks are going to finance an Adani mining project in Australia, in your country. So you have some consolation there.
Which Mr. Singh would point out is silly because you should be using your own coal.
Yes, that is Mr. Singh, because he is a man from Coal India. So if he had been able to produce enough coal, we would not have been importing coal. So that's it. Yeah. All right. So, gentlemen, if we take a vote here, I would say that the persons who would like to blame the coal for some of the ills which we have got into now, probably the ratio would be around 50%. Some of the people think that coal is the villain, and that has been the person responsible for all the climate changes. Greta Thunberg, left to her, she would like to perhaps tell the world that coal use should be stopped right now. That is the kind of word which she is using. But she belongs to an affluent country. We belong to an impoverished country. We have aspirations to catch up with them. So it will take time. So till that time, we will have to continue to use coal as it is. So my subject is climate change and use of coal. Now, every year, escalating records are being set as being the worst year in the climate calendar. So, as per the World Meteorological Report, 2020 is going to be the warmest year on record. Past 4 years, we all know, have been the hottest, and the last 20 years have probably been the warmest. Hurricanes, cyclones, and all, whatever the worst in climate could happen, have been stronger than before. Droughts are breaking all records. In January last year, for the first time, forest fires in Sweden, the country which is within the Arctic Circle. Now, next is the wildfires in the western US, and fires in Greece have been most devastating. Recent fires in coal-producing country like Australia, they have managed to managed to continue for months to come. Australia is the same country which is the largest exporter of coal in the world. Now, what about India? Closer home, let us look at not the last year, the Kerala floods in August 2 years ago. The deluge submerged huge chunks of the state, and we lost about 400 people and displaced millions of people there. The DG of the Meteorological Department has categorically stated that this was extreme weather triggered by the climate change only. So what is the future for us? UN has predicted more frequent storms and cyclones. Sea level rise will be crossing 100-fold. It would mean my city, like Calcutta from where I come, would become so hot in summer that you will not be able to go outside during a heat wave without taking a heat stroke. It would mean also 200 million or more climate refugees, 150 million dying of air pollution. So that is the kind of things which are being projected by the people who are supposed to know about it. Now, we had a chance to contain this. Nobody said that we didn't have a chance. We still have a chance. Paris Climate Agreement of 2015 was signed by 195 countries, and based on 6,000 separate scientific studies conducted by different countries of the world. Now, they had examined the possibility of limiting the global warming to 1.5 degree over the pre-industrial level. No, this agreement probably tried to make the best of a bad deal which we had available with us. So where do we stand now? Unfortunately, despite signing of Paris Accord, there is a lack of sincerity and lack of effort in implementing the accepted suggestions. This year, emission of greenhouse gases are slated to go up by 2%. No, 2% is very significant. This sets us on a course for a 3-degree rise in temperature, resulting in more or less a complete, irreversible climate change. So what are the measures which we can be adopting now? The measures are very clear. Reforestation is essential, as also shift to the electrical transport systems and greater adoption of carbon capture technologies. For meeting 1.5 degree goal, carbon pollution needs to be curbed by 45%, and this has to be leading up to zero emission by 2050. This would mean perhaps that the carbon pricing will need to be 3 to 4 times higher than what it currently is. So what about India? Unfortunately for us, we have very limited choice. India will continue to depend on coal for power generation for 50 to 60% of its total requirement, despite increased investments in the renewables. We had hardly done anything towards reducing the greenhouse gases as it is. Beneficiation of coal is still being talked about more in seminars like this than really on the ground. More efficient use of coal is still a distant dream, as we still have very old plants with very poor combustion efficiencies. Carbon capture is something which is considered to be too expensive for us and has been declared more or less impractical in the given conditions. So this means that we are not doing justice for the new generation of young people who are sitting there. No, this is in regard to India, but amidst all the negative action, I can cite the example of UK government. UK had taken the initiative of being the first country to pass the Climate Change Act, which included legally binding commitments to drastically reduce carbon emissions and manage the impact of climate change. So this has been passed by legislation. Today, UK has gone a long way, and their annual emissions were 43% lower in 2017 than they were in 1990. While emissions have dropped by 43%, its GDP has increased by 71% in the same period. Another example, Germany is following close. And there have been occasions in the last year when the entire demand of power was met by renewables. These examples, to a certain extent, need to be followed by other countries in letter and spirit. Once again, I come back to India. India, unfortunately, has to depend on coal for the next 20 years. 2 decades is what the panel had said. The chairman had also mentioned that, and I also feel that at least for 20 years, we have no choice. Despite a renewable capacity of 1,75,000 gigawatt by 2022 and 2,25,000 gigawatt by 2025, very ambitious targets, coal will continue to be used to the extent of almost 45 to 50%. So what we need to do is that to use the coal efficiently so that the greenhouse gases can be reduced. So what are the measures which can be adopted? Stop of the usage of small uneconomic plants and replace them by more efficient ultra mega power plants based on HELE, high and efficiency, low emissions technology. Technology is well established. Only thing is the size of the plants have to be almost about 800 to 1000 megawatt. So I would like to ask what happened to the target of putting 27 washeries to reduce the ash. There are many reasons why they could not be set up. We do not want to hear them. Now land at the abandoned mine has to be rehabilitated to look better than what it was earlier, and tree plantation on a massive scale should be adopted. So have we done enough on this scale? I know that NCL, Northern Coalfield, for a change, was able to do much better. You see, they restored the land to the earlier level, but also planted a lot of more trees. And the study has said that the ambient temperature in the reclaimed land was 2 degrees lower than what it used to be earlier. So that's an achievement which should be applauded, and it needs to be replicated in all the areas of the coal mines there. We should also try and improve the ambient air in the coal mining areas. Now, we've been talking about anti-pollution devices to be made compulsory for all the power plants and other users. So they had said that we do not have resources. It costs 25 paisa per unit to put up those anti-pollution devices. We don't have the money for it. Now, government has been collecting 400 rupees per ton as the greening cess for all these years, which has been used to offset the GST. Why not put that money into this fare for which it was collected? So anti-pollution devices can be set up at everywhere so that at least you can reduce the pollution load on the power plants. Now, finally, India and China have to play their part to make a major contribution to minimize climate change. Now let us continue to use the coal because we have no alternative and still minimize the production of the effluent gases by use of technology and set an example. Otherwise, the D-Day is not very far. The younger generation is not going to excuse us for this. Thank you very much.